if we could stay hungry, humble, and healthy, I think we can do the whole thing. And we did just that.
He is the PA announcer for the world champion Denver Nuggets. We had him on back on the podcast about a couple of years ago. We welcome back Kyle Speller onto Hoopsology. Welcome, Kyle.
How's it going? Thank you for having me on once again. I love the sound of what you just said there. The world champion Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, and let's start there. And we had you on, I think, in 2021, and I just want to get kind of as best you can a summary of when we first interviewed you to now in terms of just as the NBA, the Denver Nuggets, everything going on with the league in terms of a lot of uncertainty to now the Nuggets being the world champ, sitting on top of the basketball world. What has that journey been for you the last couple of years since we've talked to you?
The last couple of years, it's been like a little bit of a roller coaster. Because at that point, probably 2021, around that time, we were still pandemic. We were still in the midst of that. I know I was in the bubble in 2020 and all, and so that 2021 season, I think we started like the bubble had just ended or something, and then we started back up again, and the arenas were empty. The way things were set up in the bubble, it even though there were no people there, I mean, there were families there towards the end. I was there at the very end, and it felt like a great atmosphere. You had all the Microsoft Teams fans all over the walls, and everything was kind of enclosed a lot closer. But when we got back to our arenas and there were no fans, that was a whole different feeling in it. And so I just remember going through that piece and longing for the day when I actually had fans back in the building. And when I think we at our arena, we started with like little by little. I think we had like 1,000 fans that we let in, and I was so grateful to have people in the building and all. But from that point in time to where we are now, I mean, Jamal had gone down. There was, that uncertainty. I always felt like we had a great team, like we had a team that could do it all. But then Jamal went down, and that was tough. That was really tough. And you wondered, for me, I thought, he's young enough. He'll come back and he'll bounce back. And what will that look like? And I was expecting and hoping for him to be as great as he is when he got back, but you still didn't know until he actually started playing. And then I know even during this past season, early on when he would bump knees or something like that, you would just I just start praying for him. It's just like, oh Lord, guard his legs, and he stayed healthy. God kept him healthy, and it was just an amazing season. So fast forward to the beginning of this season, and I had my own personal theme that people were asking me all the time. What do you think about this team and all? And I said from day one, I call it my 3 H's. If we could stay hungry, humble, and healthy, I think we can do the whole thing. And that was kind of my own little theme all throughout this season, and we did just that.
Can you describe the community feel of the Nuggets? You mentioned Jamal Murray, and I believe he was worried that the team was going to possibly trade him. Yeah. And I think Michael Malone and the other staff members assured him that wasn't going to happen. I think in the NBA, that's pretty rare. I mean, teams, one sign of trouble, they fire the coach, they trade players. And It seems like the Nuggets stuck to the game plan. Can you kind of describe why that is? And it led to them being the champions.
I'm not sure all the ins and outs on the business side of things. I'm a basketball guy, and I'm just looking at it from that perspective. And, from the thing that you could kind of see what our game plan was the whole time was to build it. It's not like all these free agents are looking to come to Denver, and all the super teams and all that stuff happening. It's not happening here. And guys aren't being recruited to all that stuff. That wasn't the game plan or the strategy. The strategy here was obviously to stay the course, to build it, to build a culture, to find the right coach and to stick with it, and find the right pieces. And with Nicola, the way that he plays selflessly, to surround him with other selfless guys, that became the strategy. And then, for me, I the way that our team has been built is the way, if I was a GM, I would do it. I always wondered, why don't teams stick with people longer? You've
Hmm.
invested and all that, and now it doesn't work out this year, so you just blow it up and start doing the next thing and all. And for me, I'm all about. I coached my sons, their club team, and we always had the same kind of core that was built throughout time. And they began winning and they were champions. And then you could plug in different people, but those people that came in had to buy into our system and into our culture, and we kept winning. And that's the same thing with our team here with the Nuggets. You've built a culture, and it's been a slow process, but you have to stay the course. We live in a society that's microwave. You got to have everything instant gratification, and so that's what bothers me about the super team concept and all that, because it's like trying to buy instant wins and instant championships. Well, I love our what is it? What is the thing called? Crock pot. We've got a crock pot type of deal mentality going on here. It's
Love
a
it.
slow cooker, but it sure is juicy, and the wins taste good right now. And so, preferably we can stay in that same vein and can stay the course. We've got the culture. We've got everything in place to continue to do this as long as we can, and maintain it as long as we can.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this idea by you because as you mentioned those things and kind of building those building blocks, getting the culture and the foundation in place that Denver does seem to have. We had Brendan Vode on earlier from DNVR Sports. You may know him. He compared Jokic to kind of the Tim Duncan of Denver. I mean, do you see
Hmm.
kind of comparisons? Do you think it's fair? I mean, obviously, we're not talking about accolades and accomplishments yet, with one title, but do you see similar building blocks, similar kind of ideas? Are we getting like a San Antonio 2.0 with the Denver Nuggets under Jokic?
you know, I today's young generation would be like, "Ooh, boring." San Antonio 2.0, but I, I love the thought of that type of mentality with it. Tim Duncan is a Hall of Famer, great player, and he was a humble giant, and he was a beast, and I love that about him. I'm old school. I don't like all the flash and all that. Just get the job done. Just win. And I love Nicola. We are in the midst of greatness, and we need to appreciate it while he's here. I I'm so appreciative and so grateful to be able to be a part of the team during this time and to witness this. Um, I won't compare him and Tim Duncan other than their humility and their level of leadership in that manner. Um, Tim is who Tim is, but Nicola is who Nicola is, and it's just we're witnessing greatness in a whole different level, and it is special. And so, San Antonio 2.0, no, I just say it's Denver. I don't like to compare. I don't compare myself with anybody else and all. That San Antonio has had their successes. Coach Pop is a great coach. I love Coach Pop. Um, but we're Denver. We're the Nuggets, and we're doing our own thing, and we're they say like the league is a copycat league. I bet you'll start to see
Mm.
teams try to build their rosters slowly and meticulously in that way, um, based on what they're seeing here. Um, and so we'll see how it goes. But we've got one. Now we got to go get another.
Well said. I want to go back to what you said about the three H's, and I love that. In terms of health in the NBA, sometimes it just feels like cruel twist of fate gets in the way of that. Sometimes fate was, of course, on the Nuggets side. Thankfully, it's nice to ditch that bubble Jamal terminology that was thrown around so much. As you mentioned earlier, Jamal being able to succeed so well this year. I want to focus on what you've mentioned a few times about like humility in Denver,
Yeah.
humility in the culture there. I totally agree. I think that is something that is so underlooked. I mean, not only in basketball, but just society in general.
Mhm.
We don't have to go that deep, but I just want to know specifically with the Nuggets, like what have you seen that kind of kept them humble over the course of the year? I mean, was it just constantly realizing that they haven't accomplished the goal yet? Does it go deeper than that?
I would probably say it's all encompassing. I mean, yeah, we hadn't accomplished anything. Um, and now we look at going forward. Okay, we got this one, but now go get another one. I remember Shaq. Shaq would tell a story about his not his he didn't have his biological father, but the father that raised him, Sergeant Sergeant maybe Sergeant O'Neill. I'm not sure, but in any case, he told a story about how his father that raised him, um, where Shaq he would win championships, but his father would say, "Okay, that's good, go get another one," and continue to push him in that space. And I would say that's kind of the way we are as well. Our team, the humility starts with the top, which is Nicola. It's just his leadership and I mean, his authenticity. eh, The rest of the world didn't understand it, and they had no idea until the finals, until we were actually on that national stage. But what you see is really what you get. That's authentically who he is. I can't say. I'll give you a little. There's a little secret that we have or whatever. Hopefully, this should be okay sharing this, but the player introductions, when teams do player introductions, you always do like the star, the your MVP. You always announce that individual last. It's not like a rule, but it's just what we do. That individual goes last. Well, Nicola, he is so humble. He cares about those types of things not mattering, and so he expressed it from the beginning. He doesn't want to be introduced last. Matter of fact, introduce him first. Let his teammates go after him. Because even in that, he doesn't want any kind of credit, any kind of glory, and those types of things. When he would win Player of the Month and all those things, we would try to do these presentations for him, and he would like go out, get it, and run back because he didn't want to be bothered with it. And it would get frustrating for me because I'd be in the middle of my read, going down the accolades, and he'd already be gone. So I'm like, why are we even doing this? He doesn't care about any of this, and so that's who he is. And so that humility it's trickled down throughout the entire team, throughout the entire organization. No one is bigger than the team. No one, no one is bigger than the team, and that's the way it is, and everyone is bought in. And when you have a team like that that's bought into that type of humility, I mean, look at the types of outputs that we had from Aaron Gordon, someone who he put he set himself aside in order to produce the way he did. MPJ has taken leaps and bounds in his development because early on, maybe he would have gotten down on himself about those types of things, but instead of or making a bad play or whatever, gotten down on himself for something on it. But no, not any longer. Now he himself will tell you, if I make a bad play, okay, I'm going to go make up for it and find out a way to make a good play or make something better out of it. And because I'm about the team, and then you've got other pieces that have come in, like there, the one player, when I talk about him, I actually get emotional when I talk about him. There's the Vlatko Chanchar. He's one of my favorite players on the team. He never gets to play. I mean, he rarely gets to play, I should say. But every time he does, he's always ready. He's always active in practice. He works hard and he continuously gives and he's always ready. It just blesses, and his attitude is right, and he's just as valuable on this team as anybody else. And I just love him. What DeAndre Jordan brought as far as his leadership and just keeping the mood light and making sure everyone's engaged and and there would be times when a situation would be getting ready to blow up and get out of hand on the court, and there's DJ standing over there in the midst, kind of lightening up the moment and making people laugh on both teams and all of that, and just his leadership was, you don't track that stuff on the stat sheet, and it doesn't get caught on the camera, and the commentators aren't talking about it. Invaluable. Uncle Jeff, now he's gone, but man, invaluable. Bruce Brown, now he's gone, but wow. And then KCP, oh my goodness, what he brought to the table as well. Just being that presence, he'd already won one. I was there in the bubble. I called the game when he won it. All of those people together, all those components together, it's just a great fit, great mix, and that's who this team is, and that's where that humility is, and that's our culture. That's our culture. Selfless basketball. Selfless basketball. That's what we're about. That's Mile High basketball, and I love it. I love being a part of it, and it's beautiful to watch too. I love the way the way we play, the way we share the ball. It's beautiful. That's the way basketball was made to be played, not just iso ball, dribble, 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 ball stopper, and I'm going to shake you and show you my move and break your ankles and all that stuff and showcase, and that doesn't win. Team ball wins, and so yeah. Hopefully that answered your question. That was a long answer to that question.
That's a great answer.
No, absolutely. Kyle, I want you to walk us through the night that the Nuggets won the title. Like walk into the arena to when, the clock hits zero, to the presentation, or your feelings that day. Just walk us through, like, just waking up in the morning. Did you feel, hey, this is the morning, or did you feel like this is another day? Like, walk us through your entire experience.
So for me, part of my experience, I was trying to get my kids tickets because I wanted them to be there so bad, and because I like, this is game 5, we got to do it. It's got to be done, and so I was calling all, every source that I had. I couldn't get any tickets at all, and so I wound up, I just have to say I broke the bank. I broke the bank, and I just went and I bought them. I was like, because this is one time. This time will never happen again. Our first one will never happen again. And I wanted my kids to be able to be there. And so they're not kids; they're adults now. I feel funny calling them kids. My daughter's 24. My sons are twins. They're 21. But and all of the stuff that I've been a part of their lives, this is something that I want to be able to share with them and share this moment. And it was one I wanted family to be there. I wanted to be able to give somebody a hug and a kiss, as well. And so there was that piece. So I finally secured some tickets, and yeah, it was costly, but hey, to me, it was just worth it. So did that. The day of, I just kind of, I think the whole time throughout the entire play, I just went through my normal routine. What it is I always do, my normal stops, and my normal preparation. We did get there earlier though, because we had to rehearse the ceremony. We had to rehearse it. If we were to win, we had to rehearse that. So I got there for that, and for me, I had already been a part of the championship ceremony before in the bubble, and so I already knew what it was all about and all, and I was just in position, and we went through, and we had some pregame rehearsals and all that stuff, and in my mind, I was just just staying, this is normal, everything is normal, and just go through the game the way I normally would, and when the intros, it came time for the intros though, I think it just that's when I just the crowd. Mm,
Just
mm, mm.
electric.
I'm like starting to tear up. Whoo, the crowd. And so for the finals, and for I think for the Western Conference Finals too. I think for or maybe just the final. Yeah, it was just the finals this year. They've done it before, but it hadn't been like this before. But they brought me out, and I did intros from center court. I did it for games 1 and 2, and then of course for game 5. And just the crowd, and at that point, oh my gosh, it was just so loud and just yes, electric. It's just I can't even describe it, what it was like, but here we go. All right. And so then you settle into the game. And I knew so what was funny was in the bubble, I was Miami's. So there was 4 announcers invited to the NBA bubble. And then there was 2 of us that were asked to stay for the duration, myself and Olivier from Brooklyn. And so in the NBA finals in the bubble, he was the Lakers home announcer and I was the Miami Heat home announcer. So here I am in the finals now with my 2 teams actually.
Yeah.
But I just say all that to say that one thing that I learned when they talk about this thing called heat culture, it's a real thing. We have our culture, Mile High Basketball, but heat culture is a very real thing. And the way they go about it and the way that Pat Riley has established that foundation, I learned about that in the bubble. So I say that to say I knew that game 5 was going to be tough. It was going to be tough. And there were points in that game where there were some highs for us and we celebrated it, but I knew Miami was not going anywhere. One thing that they never do is quit. Miami never quits. And so I just knew it was going to be that kind of a game, but I knew that we could close it. We have to close it here on this night. We have to. And so all game long, there were a couple highs, and there were some points where he was like, okay, we're going to win. We're going to win. But then all of a sudden, here comes Miami back again. And it's like, oh, man, all right. Are we going to win? And so I was hoping to have like that last minute of the game where fans are cheering and yeah, it's happening and all. But that did not happen at all. And it wasn't until the final 14 seconds of that game when we finally were able to, and then people were, so I felt a little robbed. I wanted a whole minute, but we only got like 14 seconds. And KCP, I think, stole the ball or whatever. And but when the clock hit 0, I normally hit my big, final score. I don't even think I did. I couldn't really get that out, I don't think. And because I just burst into tears, I was weeping and I was hugging my boss here and I was hugging the NBA staff, the timeout coordinators, and just everybody, fans all around us. We were just, and then I think I got the final score in there. I have no idea. The confetti's flying. I knew what the setup was going to be and all that. And then it's time for me. One of my dreams was to, on the Super Bowl and the World Series, where they put the PA announcer's name, the voice of Kyle Speller on the TV on the national telecast, and then the voice comes in, the PA announcer announces, "Now let's turn it over to mine." I practice now. Let's turn it over to ESPN's Lisa Salter, and I was down here. But in that moment, I was like, let's turn it over to ESPN Lisa Salter. All that smoothness was out the window. And so, but man, all of it, it was just a total dream. I've been dreaming about this day because I've been on staff as a PA announcer for 18 seasons. But I became a Nuggets fan when I was 10 years old. So I've been a fan for 42 years myself, personally. And to finally see this and to finally be a part of that, man, it was amazing. It was amazing. And then, like I said, then my kids were there, and they finally, my daughter, she was the first one, and I just got to hug her and all, and oh, it's just amazing, just amazing. Mm, mm,
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, like you said, once in a lifetime, and
yeah.
so glad you were able to have family there with you for that.
Mhm.
Um, Wanted to ask, just kind of a behind the curtain sort of question. What? So we always see, the champagne celebration with players in the locker room. What is that sort of celebration like among, team staff? I mean, do you guys do your own thing, or are you out there among them? Do you go
Yeah,
in in your own space for that? What I mean, is it just pure madness? What, give us, an idea what that's kind
yeah.
of like.
So for me, I've always dreamed about it, and I've dreamed about being in that locker room and all of that. And you know, for me as a player, I dreamt about it as a player, but just dreamt about being in there. And so yeah, staff wise, we were all celebrating and whatnot, and you're on the court, you're all over the place, and all. And but what wound up happening for me, I wound up going back because they had the trophy back behind the arena in the hallways back there, for everybody, for the players and their families to come and take pictures with it, and a few staff people as well to come and take pictures with it in that moment. And so I went back there and I saw it and I was like, oh wow. And so, I think I went and took a picture with it, and then I went and got my kids, and I was like, hey, you guys want to come? Just come with me. And they're like, where are we going? Because they had been sitting there for a while, because we're just standing around. We just don't want to leave. You just didn't want to leave the building. It's just
Mhm.
sitting there in it. And they were like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" And I was like, "Oh, just come with me." And so I walk them back there, and you go behind this curtain, and there's the Larry O'Brien. And so uh, got to take pictures with him there and all that. And then somehow, I think I was just trying to go to the restroom or something down the hall, and it's back by the locker rooms in one of our dressing rooms and all. And the security people at the locker room, they were like, "Hey, come on back here," and all. And so I went back, and there everybody was in the locker room, and the champagne was flowing. Everybody's got the cigars and all. And so I went and got my kids. I was like, "Hey, come on, let me show you something else." And so we were just in the locker room having a great time, and the champagne. I mean, I never saw so many bottles popping, and there's champagne on the ceiling, and you got the goggles, and just everybody is hugging, and I'm just in the midst of it all, and that was a dream come true for me. I don't think that that's normal, but that was the experience, and it was just a blessing. I think that was just one way God just smiled on me another time. It gave me a big old hug and a kiss with that one, and to have my children, my not children, my sons and daughter, we were just there celebrating with it, and it was just an amazing time. We didn't leave the arena till like midnight, and they were still there, and I was like, okay, I guess it's time to go. But wow, just amazing, just amazing. Something I had dreamt about, and to have that dream, like literally dreamt about, to have that dream come true in that manner, just just speechless, so happy, so much joy in our city. um uh I'm at the it's my wife and I, it's our 25th anniversary, and so I'm
Oh,
actually here down at the
congratulations.
thank you. I'm here at the Broadmoor Hotel and in the Colorado Springs, and we were down playing some pickleball, and I did my announcer voice down there or something, and a couple of the tennis pros that were up on the upper court, they came down there like, "Hey, aren't you the guy from the Nuggets announcer?" And so it's like even down here, and I was like, "Yeah, we're celebrating down. The party hasn't stopped yet."
Awesome.
Kyle, this has been a fantastic interview. Thank you for taking some time just to speak with us about your experience. Can you just let our audience know where they can see you on social media, any projects you're working on, and then, looking forward to next season as well?
Sure. Social media wise, I'm on Twitter. It's just at Kyle Speller. And then my kids, my sons and daughter, they finally convinced me to get on Instagram, and so I'm on the gram, and it's Kyle Speller Voice on Instagram, on IG, and so I'm still trying to learn how to use it and whatnot, and so just posting little videos and all, and so but those are ways, yeah, to connect as well, and so projects is. I've signed up for Cameo, so I'm doing little
Cool.
Cameo videos. That, people can sign up for that, and I always do voiceover and all that stuff as well.
Awesome, Kyle. Thank you so much, and congratulations as well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
go Nuggets, let's go! Yeah.